Until they told us this guy did it. Mauricio Garcia.
Major right-wing news outlet Newsmax blamed the wrong person for the Allen, Texas outlet mall massacre. So they did this multiple times, by the way. This wasn't like one mistake and they corrected it afterwards and apologized. No, they did this a couple times, at least a couple times over last night, and they didn't apologize till today. And so far, I've only seen an apology in written form, and I assume they're going to do an on-air apology. They claim they're going to do one, but we'll see about that. But this goes to just how unreliable, if you need any more evidence of this, just how unreliable Newsmax is. So this is Greg Kelly, and here is his segment on this. And there's another half of this that I also want to get into, because as you're going to see, he questions something else about this.
Whatsoever. Until they told us this guy did it. Mauricio Garcia. And oh yes, a white supremacist with neo-Nazi ties. Now, look, this is not a white supremacist. And oh, by the way, we abhor white supremacy. But you know what the left does, right? They think anything matters.
By the way, before I even play the rest of this, why would you feel the need to defend the idea, the fact that he's a white supremacist? Why would you feel the need to butt into that conversation and claim that he isn't one? Unless you yourself are one and you don't want to be associated with what he did. What other reason is there? Newsmax knows their audience. This is the only reason to try and claim he is not a white supremacist, is because you don't want to offend your audience. I mean, this is just... And then he has to... like the fact that he feels the need to clarify, oh, we abhor white supremacy, because he knows how this looks. Because again, why else would you be claiming he isn't one? Unless you yourself are one, and or you know your audience are. But let's continue this.
Supremacy. But you know what the left does, right? They think anything MAGA must be white supremacist. That is appalling. This is just pathetic, all right? Now, there's a tattoo, many tattoos, and someone at one point tried to say that's the City of Dallas tattoo. No, it looks like it's the Puro Tango Blast prison gang tattoo, all right? This is not a white supremacist. Yes, if you stand on your head and cross your eyes and take a drag on a cigarette, one of those etchings might look like a swastika.
All right. So here's the thing. You don't have to do all those things that he just said. I mean, you can if you want. You could try standing on your head. But regardless, whether you're upside down or not, you'll be able to tell that this is, in fact, a swastika. Yet the Newsmax anchor, Greg Kelly, trying to claim, this guy's in prime time, one of their main shows, trying to claim this is not a swastika. So just the full tweet here from Brian Tyler Cohen. The Allen, Texas mass shooter's profile on a Russian social media site has been found. He posted a photo of Nazi tattoos and reconnaissance photos of the outlet mall weeks prior. He also posted the right-wing YouTuber Tim Pool. Yes, also interesting. Worth noting here, Ben Shapiro, as Benjamin Dixon tweets out, Ben Shapiro inspired the mass shooter who killed 6 worshippers at a mosque in 2018. Tim Pool inspired the shooter in Allen, Texas, who killed 8 shoppers, including children. Right-wing media is stochastic terrorism and needs to be treated as such. And I will link to this below. In case you're not familiar with that mosque, what happened to that mosque shooting, and what inspired it, I will share the Montreal Gazette story here. But let's finish whatever's left here.
All right. This is what they do now. This is what it's all about. Trying to tarnish or somehow diminish the other side by any means possible. This, again, totally pathetic. Now, in the
who's trying to tarnish the... No one's claiming he's a Trump voter. Maybe he is, but no one's claimed that. There's only people pointing out that he has a swastika and the SS symbol on his arm. Like, Who is painting the other side? This is who the man is. So if you take offense to this, that tells a lot more about you than anybody else. This is so absurd. Like, why would you be jumping in to defend this or try and act like he's not a white supremacist? Unless, as I said, you know your audience and you yourself are one. Now, as Forbes writes here, social media is swamped with photo blaming wrong guy for mass shooting at Texas Outlet Mall, and they show the Greg Kelly image here. Here's another example. This was during Eric Bolling, The Balance, his show on Newsmax. So again, they showed the wrong image. As Forbes writes here, the photo does show a Mauricio Garcia, but he's 36 years old, 3 years older than the actual shooter who opened fire on innocent bystanders on Saturday. That man's mugshot was taken on August 4th, 2022, when he was arrested, and he has nothing to do with the shooting at an Allen Outlet Mall over the weekend. So this shows just how Newsmax and a lot of these right-wing outlets, because this was spread largely through right-wing channels online, just how there's no fact checkers. And they don't even care to fact check. They just, oh, he has the same name, that must be him. Or maybe it's somebody else. Now, as New York Times writes here, the writer of the post, speaking of social media posts that were done by Mauricio Garcia, the actual shooter, suggests several times that they are of Hispanic origin, at one point indicating they are originally from Mexico. There was also a clear embrace of white supremacy. As recently as last month, the account contained a post saying that white people and Hispanics have a lot in common. So this is the other thing that right now the right is freaking out about, because again, they are trying to claim he's not a white supremacist. I wonder why. They are perplexed by the idea that someone who's Hispanic can be a white supremacist. Yet this is very common, actually. On its face, if you're not familiar with this stuff, it may seem surprising, and you may wonder, how is that possible? This piece in Axios does a good explanation of it. So this is from a year ago. Their piece here, The Rise of White Nationalist Hispanics. So Nick Fuentes is a major white nationalist, public white nationalist. You also have Cuban-American Enrique Tarrio, the former leader of the Proud Boys. And as they go on to write here, experts tell Axios far-right extremism within the Latino community stems from three sources: Hispanic Americans who identify as white, the spread of online misinformation, and lingering anti-black, anti-Semitic views among U.S. Latinos that are rarely openly discussed. Brian Levin, director of the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism at Cal State University, said in an interview that the trend is part of the mutation that takes place as the racist fringe tries to become more mainstream. Racism is deeply rooted in Latin American and Caribbean nations, where slavery was common. Tanya Hernandez, a Fordham University law professor and author of the upcoming book Racial Innocence, Unmasking Latino Anti-Black Bias, told Axios, in Latin America, white supremacy is alive and well. Even families who have been in the U.S. for generations can often bring those biases with them. And then they go through several examples of Latino individuals who committed hate crimes. So I'm not going to, there's no need to read through all that, but this is common. So it's not, at least common within the context of white supremacy. So it's not like this is some, a rare occurrence to have someone who espouses these views who is Latino, but more here. So the right also, like this, the conspiracies are just ridiculous. So Kyle Becker here saying, why are the Allen Mall shooters tattoos so damn fresh? A Hispanic man with recent tattoos of Nazi symbols and the city of Dallas. This just doesn't add up. And I love this reply here from Wild saying, Kyle, do you not know how photographs work? They capture a moment in time. So what you're seeing in those photos is him in the past. Like a lot of people who get tattoos, he probably took these pictures right after he got the tattoos. It doesn't mean he took these right before he committed the shooting. So they are just grasping for any straw possible. No, he can't possibly be a white supremacist. And again, why would they be so concerned about that? It is amazing. Just the obvious telling on themselves that they are doing in all of these attempts to deny this obvious white supremacist. Dean Cain here, remember that actor in who was Superman in the 90s? I used to watch that show, but he has completely lost his mind. So Dean Cain here saying, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, referring to Gavin Newsom's tweet here saying, this is freedom to be shot at a mall, shot at school, shot at church, shot at the movies. We have become a nation that is more focused on the right to kill and the right to live. This is not what the American people want. Do your damn job, Congress. So Dean Cain thinks he rather live in a dangerous freedom. But great point here by Matt Novak saying, I don't know how you can watch hundreds of people evacuating a mall with their hands up and convince yourself this is freedom. This isn't freedom. This is being trapped by an extremist fringe. There are countries like Canada, where I'm from, where you can still own a gun. There's just a proper process you have to go through. There is training. There is background checks. There's a 30-day waiting period. They have to talk to your partner. They talk to past partners. They get clearance. Like there's a whole process, whether it's licensing a gun or whether it's the ability to actually purchase one. There's a long, deep process to do so because, of course, a firearm is incredibly dangerous and only has one use: hurt things. So why would you just give those out like candy? Because when you do, this kind of thing happens on a consistent basis. And as I said in my other video, in case you missed it, like the issue here is very clear. It is the guns. It's not video games, because other countries, Canada, Europeans, play the exact same shooting games. It's not movies or gun culture even, because other countries like action movies. They enjoy explosions. They like seeing, I don't know, guns in movies or whatever. It's not that. It is the guns, the easy access to firearms. That is the problem. Until you address that, things like this will continue happening.